Unless you are helping Jirongo shine the torch, Speed did a tour of Africa. And as expected, every African country lined up their best scenarios and or culture for the world to see. As Kenyans, we lined up Matatu culture, corruption, Masai Mara, and, well, the entire meter-long foot of Goliath.
2 feet! It's the size of my head!
In this video, I am entirely dwelling on the craziest scenes from Matatu culture. The good, the bad,
Whoa! Oh. Almost got hit.
and the outright crash-outs. And for that exact purpose, I have devised a scale to help us know where to categorize every occurrence. I am calling it a Vinde score. And in this score, 1 means good, 10 means bad, and 20 means total brain loss, or 100% Vinde moment. First things first, a couple of vehicles like Manifest, Mood, and Syndicate were set up and prepared to meet Speed, coming up with the new Speed decals, stickers, and even back portrait. On my Vinde scale, this one was easily a level 2 goodness. The moment Speed set foot in Syndicate, the Matatu, he realized the screens were streaming his stream.
Yo! And they got my stream on here.
This was also a good Vinde score at a whooping 1. After settling in, it took quite a long time for the bus to get moving. That Speed himself had to ask for the vehicle's driver. I, however, understand that roads were not clear and this was a massive event. Nevertheless, it warrants a score of 10 on the Vinde score. Finally, the bus got to moving, and the Speed was not afraid to show his disgust with the loud whistling exhaust.
What the hell? You gotta hold tight, hold tight. What is that noise?
But Matatu culture is not the usual culture. We thrive on the abnormals, and for that, let's go ahead and give ourselves a 1 on the Vinde scale for embracing our awkwardness. Right next to that was the time when heavy music hit, and someone had to reassure Speed that this was exactly how they go.
This car? What the hell? That's how they go. So that's the idea.
Be sure to keep your pointer at a level 1 Vinde score for that. It was also at this time that Ndudhi culture also got a grand showcasing moment, having youths from all walks of mechanical engineering on 2 wheels. Trust me, you wouldn't wanna miss charging your Spyro for this one. Anyway, for that presidential escort, Ndudhi culture gets a 3 on the Vinde scale. However, some riders refused to let Manifest merge so that we could have a little rat race and a bit of civilized excitement. And for that, they get a Vinde score of 12. After that, there was a slight cut to the interior and Speed was seriously vibing to the music, and for that, Lee Audio walks away with a level 1 Vinde score for making the whole bus a vibe. Eventually, Manifest was catching up to Syndicate, smooth but with casualties. My boy here, for example, wished someone had held his hand, at least even as a joke, going down with a very serious case of bad Vinde score, a 9. Trust me, he had it better. Someone somewhere managed to get to Speed, have a humble time, well, not completely humble, but at the heat of the moment, failed to locate the camera up on his Redmi 14C, completely missing out on the opportunity to take a selfie with Speed. Bottom line, this happens. It's very normal, but don't ever let it happen to you like that. A 15. Next we get to this guy. For him, I would use the sentence pillar of strength, but Kenyan ladies have totally sucked the juice out of it.
Your pillar of strength has been following Speed around the city on Nduthi, trying his best to get Speed's attention. He has spent thousands of shillings.
Easy for her to say she can't follow Speed anywhere. That would need gas, determination, and a whole new skincare routine. Don't even get me started on the amount of bras and panties that get slingshot to celebrities by the said people every other Tuesday. Speed was in WWE 2025 Royal Rumble, hanging out with Otis, Logan Paul, and even got speared by Braun Breaker. Touching or even just talking to him has to give a brother pure adrenaline. And for properly making use of the said adrenaline, he gets a 1 on the Vinde score. Of course, he has to go back and explain to his family this hidden talent, but he'll cross that bridge when he gets there. Back to the topic at hand, Speed noticed his name and image on the back portrait of Manifest.
I hear that? Look, it's my face. That's my face on that bus. That's my face.
For making him feel welcomed and part of the culture, we get a 1 for that. But in that moment of fun, makosa ilifanyika kidogo and these 2 buses came so close to each other, almost clipping each other, and Speed was right in the middle of them.
You got that bus moving? That bus is freaking. Whoa! Oh! Almost got hit. Almost got hit.
Making this a very serious near miss. For this, we get a Vinde score of 13, simply because it rarely happens in the culture, and of course we can throw the blame on any random border rider. But after that, Speed went ahead to vibe to our parariras, so that was not personal. And to the great minds behind these sounds, a Vinde score of 1 is justified. A few moments later, the Red Me 14C guy caught up again, together with some other people. And he took this opportunity to rightly confess his love and adoration, and they lived happily ever after. Wrong. Before he could consummate this newly found marriage, Rudy showed up and plowed through them like a broom on dust. Combining his current Vinde score with the previous appearance pretty much knocks him off the scale. But hey, at least he held Speed's hand. That's more than I can say for myself. One person who almost knocked himself off the Vinde scale was Vinde himself. Affording the luxury of having a full-blown Caesar at the sight of Speed was uncalled for. Especially since he scares people for a hobby and was the alleged holder of Speed's meet and greet contact list.
Nimeambiwa timu ya Speed imeniambia mimi ndo nitasimamia CBD mzima.
This occurrence and the backlash that came after earns him a Vinde score that has never been seen before. 20.
So mimi nashangaa di maprankster wananikujia tuweke kwa list. Kama nilikuweka kwa list nikakutaja kwa list. Nimeapologize. Hakuna list ilikuwa.
Let us focus on someone else within the scale. Hancho.
Can you say my name in chat? Hancho. Hancho. Yeah. Say you love me, bro. What?
Yeah. Riddle me this. What does Speed and Ruto have in common? A short attention span, correct. For Speed, it is because he has a busy schedule and so little time. For Ruto, it's because he has to formulate new words on the spot, and the words don't like to be formulated, so there's a conflict.
Affordable housing umejemba nyumba maji hapa nyumba ngapi hapa ama namna gani bwana?
But that's neither here nor there. So, when Hancho got carried away and almost hit a bus, Speed had already forgot his fancy little online name. But he tried, so he gets a Vinde score of 8. The alleged pill of strength emerges again, this time on top of Speed's bus with all forms of backflips.
How did he get on top of the bus? How did he get on top of the bus?
If he was looking for attention, he sure did get it, and I admire his resilience and strength. Eventually we made it to the destination, and I know this is not part of Matatu culture experience, but our 100% functional brains took Speed to affordable housing projects. And the funny story is, someone had another someone explain to Speed something about Boma Yangu, the number of units, and the president's... What?
Of the president.
Yes.
He's one of the biggest estates we have in Kenya. And this is the new Singapore we have in Kenya, of which the president is coming up with.
Okay.
So you're most welcome. Feel free. We have over 10,000 houses here. And we have so far so good. We have over 3,000 people.
Only for Speed to turn around and ask about his GoPro. What I tell you about attention span?
Okay, perfect. Yo, Anthony, what did Slim say about the GoPro though?
For that, the entire propaganda team that was responsible gets a Vinde score of 30. You all need to learn how to write scripts. Leave a comment down below and tell me your thoughts on this video. If you haven't yet, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss any of my updates. Here are some of my videos if you're interested, and I hope to see you on the next one.